Time. Hi, dear judges. My name is Simen Andersen, and I usually work at the coffee bar Neongrut back in Norway. But today, I have the privilege of being the maestro in this symphony of a coffee for you. Now, as a barista and as a musician, I believe that the concept of a symphony is one of the better ways to describe a great tasting cup of coffee. Just as an orchestra has to play with great artisanship and passion to play one musical piece perfectly, so has all the parts of the coffee. They have to play together. All the ways from cherries and farmers, producers and roasters, to the way it is brewed and served for you here today. I believe every aspect is important and needs to play together. Now, to our first and most vital part of this symphony, the piece that will be played, or should I say, the coffee that will be brewed. This coffee is produced or composed by the brothers Asafa and Mulugeta de Kamo, running the Gata farm in the Sidama Bensa region of Ethiopia. This farm is surrounded by a natural forest with old indigenous trees and sits at an altitude of 2,100 to 2,200 meters above sea level. The heirloom cherries are hand-picked and floated in buckets upon reception. Now, this procedure removes the overripe and underripe cherries, ensuring us consistency and quality in the final cup. The cherries are then put into sealed fermentation tanks for 48 hours before they're moved to raised African beds to be dried for between 14 and 18 days, resulting this heirloom cherry to be an anaerobic natural. Now, to our co-composer of this coffee, Ivica Svetanovsky, our roaster at Café Circular. He roasted this coffee 12 days ago, and I believe that it's now reaching its peak. He roasted it with high heat up front, decreasing before a little ramp into the first humble crack. Now, he did this with the philosophy of creating a coffee that has a natural fruit juice sensation. And you will taste that here in the coffee today. Now, we have a coffee ready to be brewed, a symphony ready to be played. And learning to conduct this coffee, it was somewhat of an adventure, a roller coaster, I would say, with many ups and downs. We tried so many different brewers, so many different filters, recipes, different grinding sizes, different waters, different water temperatures, but it didn't quite seem to get the fruit juice sensation that we got when we first cupped this coffee at the roastery. This is why, I believe this was because we didn't listen to what the coffee was playing. And then one day, here in Melbourne, we did. And we realized this coffee needs a full immersion brew to get out all the natural fruit juice characteristics that we found in this coffee. That is why I'm using the Hario switch today with Abaca Plus filters. As we found, this gives us the most harmonious brew throughout when we brew with a water temperature of 93 degrees. We're using 16.5 grams of coffee to 250 grams of water. The coffee is coarsely ground and was ground about 30 minutes ago. As again, we found this gives us the very most harmonious brew and brings out most of the natural fruit juices in this coffee. Now, I poured this coffee firstly in a spiral motion to cover all the grounds in coffee, making sure everything is wet. Before I pour more aggressively to agitate all of the coffee grounds in an equal way. Before I then do a roundabout at the top, making again sure everything is covered to ensure consistency throughout my brews. The brew will go and immerse for 3 minutes I will then tap the brewer 3 times and open the valve at 310, draining the coffee through the filter, giving us clarity with this filter. Now, as I conduct this coffee and this coffee is immersing, I believe I can give you my sensory notes. So please pay attention as I give them. In the aromas, you will find blueberry, honey, peach, and red grape. Now to the flavor. You'll find apricot, mango, banana, and strawberries. In the aftertaste, you'll find milk chocolate, along with tamarind and a lovely peach. You'll find the acidity of this coffee to remind you of a wild red grape, much like the muscadine grape. You'll also find that it is tartaric and lemon citric. The body of this brew is medium light, and you'll find it to be juicy. And as it cools down, this body will develop a little and become medium, not medium light anymore. The balance of this brew, you'll find to be harmonious, much like a well-played symphony. Now, what I mean by that is that both the flavor, aftertaste, and acidity play together to create one well-played symphony. Did you miss any of my sensory notes? You got them all? Perfect, perfect. Now, as you evaluate the hot aroma from this coffee, I want you to lift the carafe and swirl it as you do so, as I found this brings out the most of the aromas. So please, there you go, enjoy. There you go, enjoy. And then we have this last one for you. Please enjoy the aroma. And dear judges, as I said earlier, I believe that the concept of a symphony goes all the way from cherries to the way it is brewed and served. That is why I today have developed these cups along with the ceramicists at Ment back in Norway. These cups have the color pink, and through our research, we've found that the color pink highlights the sweetness of the coffee. That resulting in the stone fruit qualities and berry qualities that you find in this coffee. May I take your servers? Perfect. We also found that this shape centers the aroma, giving us a clearer perception of it. And as we know, aroma and flavor are closely combined. That is why I ask you today to only evaluate the hot aspects using a cupping spoon and evaluate all other aspects drinking directly from this cup. And as you might see, this cup has 2 sides, one lower and one taller side. So we found that this gives 2 different sensations when drinking the coffee. And for this specific coffee, we found that the taller side brings out the natural fruit juice characteristics in this coffee very nicely. So please, dear judges, thank you for letting me conduct this symphony for you here today. Please enjoy. Thank you, and time.